Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the Future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor Podcast.
Mr. Brightside. Yeah. Woo! Welcome to Future Bachelor. My name is Cy.
And I'm Veronica.
And we talk about everything pop culture, dating, and Bachelor.
This episode, we're covering some major losses in the entertainment community, Madison LaCroix weaseling herself into more drama, and Matt finally stepping up to the plate with the villains on his season.
Ooh-wee, and this is episode 150. Yeah!
Ooh-wee, indeed.
Oh my goodness, we made it to 150. This is another milestone.
We did it.
I stopped kind of counting milestones so much, but this is definitely one. You know, this is halfway to 300.
Wow. Yeah, when you think about it that way, yeah, shit.
Yeah, we're halfway to another goal, or you can, we're 3/4 of the way to 200, which is just as important. But I mean, it's a special day, but it's just another episode because we're gonna look back and be like, can you believe it's episode 1000? And I should have told you we did the 4 zeros because we're going to make it there, V.
We're not doing that. I'm sorry.
Oh, man, whatever.
That would have looked crazy, okay?
Well, last week we started off with Panic at the Disco, and I couldn't remember the other song that it reminded me of, but this was it. Like, I feel like those two songs, those are top 10, like, just people... I don't know all the words, obviously, but you don't have to. You just can just be like, da, 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 yeah. Would you know the words?
I do, but I'm also white, and this is like a classic white people song. So.
Right. So, anyways,
you get a pass.
I had to start off with that one just because I remembered after the show. So if you guys were like, what was that song you was talking about last? I did it for y'all. So, V, how are you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I feel like we're both in the thick of it with a lot of work, lately. But
yeah.
Outside of that, I got a dank milkshake last week with my friends Michaela and Clarissa, and I don't regret that at all. It was one of the better decisions I've done.
Hey, treat yourself.
What?
You got to treat yourself sometimes,
Oh, yeah. And plus, it's called The Yard, so it's like my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and I just love that.
That's genius.
Right?
Wow.
Right. And then I also did, my friends Christine and Natalie and we all ordered these little pottery kits. And so we got on FaceTime, and we were making like little air dry clay. Like I made a pot to put a plant in because, as we know, millennials are obsessed with plants. And then I also made like a little trinket dish. So I have to paint those still. And then I've been on a trend to finally like decorate my condo. I have like right now in my living room and stuff, I have like blue tape up of where I'm going to put different art and stuff. And I've been leveling stuff out and putting everything up. And I just ordered like 3 really cool posters that represent Chicago for me, Clearwater for Rachel, my roommate, and then Atlanta for, both of us. That's been me. Cool. Just adult things,
Yeah.
milkshakes and paintings.
I really like the idea of working on different areas of your house. Like, I'm going to work on the bar section maybe next or something, and just like make that look all cute with like a plant here or just like a accent lamp or something. I don't know. But you just kind of focus on like one area. You can make it all Pinteresty and stuff, but I'm excited to see what you come up with.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I actually didn't see you this weekend, but
I know.
I was celebrating a couple birthdays. We did like a little bonfire in my friend's backyard, and that was fun. And just been a crazy week still of stocks, like, it's kind of
Stonks.
like, I can't help it. That's like what I'm interested in right now. It's just so enlightening just to be a part of this world that I used to look at that was like hard, whenever you talk stocks with people are like, I just don't get it. But that's how I feel about sports. Like I felt like that's exactly how I felt about sports too. And so it's like even being able to understand a little bit of it now is just kind of cool. And letting your money work for you is kind of cool. But sorry to anybody that's like losing a whole bunch of money because they're holding out on that GameStop stock. You saw how much it's dropped?
Yeah, it's not. I mean,
people are still holding though. Good for them.
I know. People are really. I know. It's like almost like a competition. Like they're like, I bought it for this much money. That's like what I've been seeing.
It's like lost porn. Like, you know, it's like
crazy.
Show a screenshot of how much money you lost, and they're all like supporting.
That's exactly what it's like.
So, well, that's what's up. V, that's cool. I'm glad everything was okay this week. But I guess I really want to know, what are you watching?
What
have you been watching?
I finally finished. I finally did it. I finished my full binge of all of Real Housewives of New York up to the most recent season.
Wait, hold on. Congratulations, V. What an accomplishment.
I've watched in total 12 seasons.
That's ridiculous. What the hell? That is actually, that's probably why you're only doing okay. You shouldn't be consuming that much Housewives. 12 seasons.
No, I loved it. It was great. Because I finally finished that, because that would take up when I wasn't watching The Bachelor or watching because I finished Bling Empire and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I am back on my CW bullshit. New season of Nancy Drew just started, so I've caught up on those 2 episodes. New season of Riverdale. I hope it's the last one, because they really jumped the shark 3 times now, and I'm just watching because I'm a loyal Archie Comics fan.
Yeah.
And I just have to see how they finish this shit up. That started. I have to catch up on that. So I'm back on my CW bullshit, and I'm not mad about it. I'm here for it.
That's what's up. Yeah, I guess I didn't do too much watching, but I did catch that new HBO Max, which was actually, I think, out in theaters too. It's called The Little Things with Denzel Washington and Jared Leto, and who else was in it? Rami Malek or what? Rami Malek. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting movie. Different. It's funny to see Denzel Washington, because it's almost like he's been playing the same kind of role in every movie lately. It's just kind of like he's a badass guy that eventually thinks about everything in a diner, and I don't know, and saves the day at the end. But this was kind of I'm not trying to spoil it for y'all, but it was a little different perspective on Denzel's character this time around. So I don't know how great it was, but Jared Leto plays a real creepy person for some reason. He's really good in that role.
Yeah, I was I feel like that's Jared Leto's lane, which, what does that say about Jared Leto? Exactly. I don't know.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's what I've been watching, but we might as well take a trip to a place I like. Quick hits.
All right.
Some quick hits.
As I previewed in our little intro, there's some major losses in the entertainment industry this past week. So first one was Cicely Tyson, who died at 96. So she was known for being a boundary-breaking an award-winning actress, one of the best female African-American actors in the game, has been in so many things, has really taken on a lot to help bring other women of color into that space. And I mean, she just released her autobiography, and so that's been popping off right now, because then she was she was on the road, as a 96-year-old on the road, doing her book stuff, and she's an icon, so definitely will be missed.
Yeah. Who else passed away?
Well, one of the faves from one of your shows, Dustin Diamond from Saved by the Bell, aka Screech, died at 44 this past week.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate one for sure. I mean, it's kind of crazy, because growing up, you just hear these bad stories about kids in acting, growing up and having to get so much fame and just being in that world sometimes. And his character specifically, everyone was pretty much good looking on the show. Every single other,
and he was a weirdo
member. And he was not only was his character meant to be kind of the comedic joke, part of it. I mean, everyone was funny, but they shitted on him a lot on the show.
Well, yeah, I mean, he went by Screech,
right? And outside of that, I'm sure he kind of felt that kind of character outside of the show too. So, that just led him down a crazy path of like probably bad decisions and stuff. But the going out like that, it just sucks, man. Cancer.
It's really and I think he had just gotten diagnosed and it was like malignant and just like super far progressed. So yeah, it's really, really, really sad.
I was seeing stuff like that. He was so embarrassed of like how bad it had gotten. Like there was like a bulge coming out of his neck, like that he didn't want people to see it, like, and make fun of him for it. So he didn't even go and get it treated for the longest time. And by
That's
the time
so
it's already so. And another thing is just like I just watched that Saved by the Bell reboot, like, or they brought it back or whatever, and pretty much every single character they brought back except for him. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it just sucks. It just sucks because I think there were talks of bringing him in because, I think he started admitting that like a lot of the stuff he used to say about people, like he made it up and everything. But I mean, not saying he's the greatest guy ever, but definitely Saved by the Bell is one of my favorite shows, ever growing up and still. So, rest in peace. Who else we lose?
All right, Sophie, Grammy-nominated pop artist and producer. She died at age 34 this past week in a tragic accident.
So this one's crazy because like I was like looking for a slapper of the week, and so I was like looking through charts, and for some reason, like 3 of her songs were in the top 10 of like viral. And then I one of the songs I clicked on was a song that I actually heard like a couple of years ago because it was beautiful. But then I started clicking on the other songs for this artist, Sophie, this producer. And her songs like sound so different from song to song, like, and the beats were insane. So I had no idea she passed away until like I saw us talking about it on this episode. So it's just like, oh damn, that's why it was probably going viral. But what happened?
So supposedly, like what they know is that she was like she lives in Athens, Greece, and she was like climbing up to the roof to like watch the full moon that happened. There was a full moon, just like this past week, and she was climbing up to watch it and she slipped and fell. And it's just really sad. So she's like also very boundary breaking, like one of the top like trans artists in music, and has done like a ton of work like with Madonna for Bitch I'm Madonna, has done a ton of work with Charlie XCX, like, so definitely
like
Nicki
Minaj, I think, and stuff like
and Fletcher, like definitely artists that we've featured on this show and things like that. So
and just listening to the music that I just like she put out alone was insane. Like we were listening, I was playing songs right before the show, like to you, just like, isn't this crazy? So go check out Sophie's music, man, because hopefully, I mean, that's so tragic. Holy crap.
It is tragic, for sure tragic. But yeah, listen to her stuff in her memory.
Well, do we got some other news and music that doesn't have to do with anyone passing away?
Yeah, so, my problematic faves, G-Eazy and Chris Brown, are coming out with a new song that is going to be called Provide. And G-Eazy, I feel like hasn't like come out with a lot of music that much recently. He's been on like featured on a lot of stuff last year. And I mean, Chris Brown had, I feel like, some stuff earlier last year. So I feel like this is a little bit like their top of the year new music. So I'm interested to see that. And as we know, they are my problematic faves because like known abuser, known cheater, but their music fucking slaps. So it's just it's a hard knock life for me out here.
I really wonder if this is going to be a good one because I don't know. I haven't really heard anything that great from either of those artists lately. Not saying that they're not good. I just
exactly.
Haven't. So, what it looks like, Cardi's dropping a new single.
Cardi is dropping her first song since WAP on Friday. It's going to be called Up. And actually, like, interesting thing, she decided not to nominate WAP for this upcoming Grammy season, even though it technically fell within the time frame, but she's waiting for her next album, which I'm guessing is going to also include this single Up, to then nominate it. So interesting. The whole Grammy play, like how you figure out like how you're going to nominate songs or whatever, is very interesting to me, especially because like WAP was like set a record for streaming when it came out, but I'll be interested to see if like Up lives up to that hype. I doubt it will, because WAP just was such a power song of the moment with Megan Thee Stallion, but I'm interested to see what they can, sounds like.
I don't know. It's hard to miss. You know, you got a whole bunch of people behind there that's like, this is definitely a hit. Like, you know, hopefully it does hit. What else we got?
Right, Jeff Bezos has decided to step down as Amazon's CEO. He'll be moving to being the executive chairman. All right. And so and Andy Jassy, who was the chief of Amazon's cloud computing division, will be stepping up as the new CEO. So, you know, it's news. This is news.
Yeah.
I have feelings about Jeff Bezos. I feel like I would like to see what he does with his wealth, if he's going to actually give back any of it to, you know, the employees that he tends to exploit and just, you know, things. But I don't know.
Do you know what the socials are saying about this move? Are they saying it's a good thing? Do they think it's like a bad thing for Amazon? What? I
mean, Amazon is at such a height right now that like people, like he kind of was like, you know, Amazon is at its most inventive ever. So like this is an optimal time for a transition. That's like what Jeff is saying. I think, you know, maybe, I mean, he's still going to have a hand in it. Like, I think it's just like very much so like a slow transition. And because he's already bringing somebody who's already very high up in the company to be the CEO, I don't really see it being like a huge change.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, I personally think it's a smart thing for a CEO to do, because I don't know, like it's just like I think I was just talking about this the other day about, you know, all these companies that have the head of these people that like so much is relying on that person. Like what happens if Elon Musk like gets in some controversy or God forbid dies, like what happens with that company? Like, you know what I'm saying? That would be horrible. I mean, everything relies so much on that one person. So it's like, you know, I think it's smart to transition someone to show that, like, you know, the leadership is still under this person, that things can still happen, you know, if this person is not in charge. And I think it's a smart move. And I also think, like, right now there's, like, a space thing going on between, like, Tesla, Virgin, and Amazon.
Space race of sorts.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, Amazon's got, you know, I mean, Tesla's got SpaceX, Amazon's got Blue Origin. So I really, truly believe that Jeff Bezos is going to try to focus on this Blue Origin space stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a power move in general, where he's able to shift focus on some other operations that are going to bring in great revenue. But here I am going back to some stock talk. What else do we got for quick hits, V?
The stock talk. All right, so there's some new movies on the horizon that just honestly are going to hit a little too close to home. One of them,
speaking of stock,
Speaking
of stock,
the GameStop. Yeah. Speaking of stocks, yes, Noah Centineo has been signed on or being attached to this movie that Netflix is supposedly going to be putting out there. It's in the works right now with Mark Bull doing the script, things like that. People are consulting on it, but it's going to be some sort of like movie that's relevant to the whole GameStop stock situation happening now, and based on, I think, this book that talks a lot about social media's influence on stock and the stock market. So that will be interesting. Netflix has a hard-on for Noah Centineo. He's in like so many.
I love how you said that. Because I was about to say something similar. Not like that, but I was going to be like, yo, they're putting him in every single thing.
He's in everything.
He's a heartthrob, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a good-looking person.
I'm into it. I don't care. I'll watch him in anything.
He's like the Rock of Netflix. But yes.
He's like the Helen Bonham Carter of anything by what is that guy? Who is it? Who am I thinking of? Who does all the like weird creepy movies? Oh my god.
Jared Leto.
What did you say?
Jared Leto.
No.
Anyways, we'll come back to that.
Have a joke, whatever.
Yeah,
anyways.
But the stock movie, I guess it's like gonna. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be called this, but they're calling it. I heard it was like the Anti-Social Network. So it's like
yes, that's what it's based off. I think that's a book what it's based off of.
So yeah, what else we got?
Okay, so seemingly weird, Timothy Chalamet and director Luca Guadagnino, I probably said that totally wrong, who they were both on Call Me By Your Name, which also starred Armie Hammer. They are going to make a sort of coming of age tale that is based on, it's a movie adaptation of Bones and All, which is going to be, involves cannibalism is all you need to know. Is it that's so like
so they're normalizing,
it's a little fishy. Like, I don't know.
Oh my god. See, I mean, there's one thing if like a zombie falls in love, but now we're talking about humans that eat people falling in love. This is like ridiculous. And of course they're gonna get Timothy Chalamet to be on, so all the girls are like
type,
oh
like,
my god, like I swear to god, if girls in like 15 years are just like, oh my god, he loves me, he eats parts of my arm, like I'm gonna like freak out. Like I can't do it. I can't keep up with you TikTokers. Well, dude, it was kind of crazy in sports this week with LeBron getting heckled and stuff by this like 25-year-old blonde woman from Miami. What happened with all that?
Okay, so, it was actually here in Atlanta. It was the Hawks Lakers game, and I guess, whatever, you have limited fans right now, and he called her courtside Karen afterwards.
Oh, I mean, is she from Miami?
I think so.
Yeah.
I believe so. And so she was like just ranting at him, trash talking at LeBron and saying different stuff. And then and so was her husband. And then, LeBron was firing some stuff back at both of them. So she felt the need to, kind of defend her husband, because I think her husband is older. So I think there was a little bit of, there was some stuff happening about there, calling him like how he uses steroids or different things just because of, older guy, younger girl, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Not that I know anything about that, but
yikes.
Yeah, and then
was that your yikes moment of the week? Jeez.
But then it turned into she wasn't wearing a mask and she was yelling these things, so got the refs involved. They had her ejected. She flipped him off. It was like a whole thing, but she apologized. I think she's trying to be like some wannabe like influencer, so she like made a whole like apology post on her Instagram. But and LeBron kind of just like brushed it off, being all like courtside Karen mad on his Twitter, and then he was like, honestly, it's good that we finally have some fan interactions. Like, I need that while I'm playing. Like, he's like, I need a little bit of like something to keep me going. So all in good fun, I guess, unless you want to take away the integrity of the sport. But who am I to say that? Anyways, V, what made you go yikes this week? Something that made you go yikes. Wow. So Morgan Wallen, in general, we've talked about him on the show before, or at least I think I have like dropped stuff about him. He's a famous country star. I think he's my age. He's 27. Mm-hmm. He's super big, especially like with the college folk. And he actually has like performed at and around colleges, has been caught like partying with sorority girls, like got into a lot of trouble with his maybe girlfriend, maybe now ex-girlfriend. But this man is just, his record, his album has been like top of the charts for the past couple of weeks, but that's all going to stop now because he was caught on camera earlier this week, the beginning of Black History Month, no less, saying the N-word.
Oh, man.
Like,
what a
February 1st,
idiot.
2021, just saying the N-word, and now he's been dropped from radio rotations, and his label has suspended his contract indefinitely. Not a good look. Not a good look.
Yeah, so, I mean, what was the incident about? Like, was he just saying the word, or was he talking to someone, like a black person, or what was this situation?
So there was a video that, of course, TMZ.
I saw the video. So it looked like he was drunk, and some neighbor was like filming it from like a second story, and they caught like him talking shit to someone.
Yeah, I guess like he was shouting potentially a friend, saying like, "Hey, take care of this." I'm not good.
Yeah, I feel you, but like I couldn't see if like he was talking of like just saying the word, or he was actually, it doesn't matter, just saying the word in general is terrible, but I'm just wondering if he was saying it to like a black person or he was saying it to somebody else. I don't understand like what happened with the situation, but
I guess he was like, I think he was like yelling it out like at his friend or something, like whatever, like kind of like making fun of them. I don't know if they were black or not. But in general, as you said, not really the move. I don't really think it,
well, it sounds like he's a habitual line stepper. And when you're a habitual line stepper these days, habitual line steppers, this ain't the time for you, because legit, just like that is how fast your career could end. Like it's not even a joke these days, man. Like, and what, this guy's walking around with a mullet. You can tell that he's the type of person that like he says this word all the time. My whole thing is that like, yeah, I mean, good. You got it. Someone caught him on tape. Like,
yeah, for real.
I don't know. That's so crazy. Like, he must have been making such a ruckus outside that he woke up somebody and they filmed him and stuff. It was.
Yeah, especially like if especially because of like how big Morgan Wallen is right now, and if you like live in Nashville where you tend to be around like a lot of like these stars and stuff, if you know where people live, you probably like just in general, I mean, we all have a phone on us, like, and if you want to catch something, even like I feel like people tend to just be like, oh my God, I see whoever, and they do a quick like video to send to their friends, being
cool
like
$5,000, I'm sure, like the TMZ, you know what I'm saying? Like you just send them in shit. I mean, it's not gonna get you any like sugar when you go over to get it from your neighbor, but I think like this guy, deserves everything that he got coming his way, because. What was it? Kelsey Ballerini, I saw like she put out something where she's like, this is not representative of people from Nashville. But then I saw like Maren Morris come and be like, actually, this is kind of like representative people that come out of Nashville.
Maren Morris is like, where are you at? Like Nashville is like
so
that.
It's an interesting conversation. It's interesting to see other voices from country music like speak out and like have their perspectives of it. So, deuces to Morgan Wallen. Anyways, why don't we get into Bachelor talk this week? What an episode of Bachelor it was.
What an episode.
Where do we start? Where do we even start? Maybe we start from where we left off last week.
Yeah, so we're like in what is sort of the cocktail hour before the rose ceremony. Matt comes in, addresses the mob mentality. He's like, I've been hearing that it's just not it's a toxic situation in the house with the old girls versus the new girls. And, I'm here to make things a safe space for everybody. And I'm hearing that you all are not doing that. And I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And so that kind of starts the ticking off of the troublemakers. First up is Anna. He pulls Anna to the side.
Oh, it's so sweet to see this, though. Like, it's so sweet to start seeing it happen because... And they've really played it up into editing, too. Like, you could tell, like, the tone of the episodes was to be like, let's just set them up to have them fall. Like, they turned up the drama in the last two episodes just for this moment right here. And this is exactly the payoff.
Truly dominoes, yeah.
Yeah. So they start picking them off. How does it start?
Which before he even pulls Anna to the side, like, the girls are kind of like discussing. Anna's already like,
oh, he pulls Brittany out. He talks to Brittany first, right?
Oh, yeah. He talks to Brittany first because he talks to Brittany being like, yo, so what's the deal? What's happening? She confesses how, like, the girls were calling her an escort, how she was made to feel uncomfortable in the house because people were spreading rumors about her, and how she was pretty much like a target from the second she walked in, which she kind of like, she admitted, she's like, I didn't think, I was going to be like welcomed with open arms because I was a new girl, but like, I also didn't think I was going to be like shot down. But, so when he kind of announces that, like, then Anna and MJ are all like, oh my God, who could he be? Like, what? Oh, we got to like cover our ass. And then he pulls Anna aside, and Anna tries to like stand up for herself by being like, I can't believe like it was so out of character of me to say something like that, like, and blah, blah, blah. She acts like she wasn't the one who like fully brought it. She's like, I'm just popular in Chicago, so people were sending me things, and I just had to figure it out. And I'm like, you fully were you were telling everybody. You're acting like you just like randomly were like, hey.
I tried to find her on Instagram. Is she not on Instagram because of all this?
She was the last time I checked.
Okay.
But she might have, maybe she kind of dipped out, that's the sad part is like,
I mean, it's a smart thing to do. Like, I mean, I'm going to her account to see all the people hate on her. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if that's like what I'm doing, like, it's probably a smart decision just not be on social media, even if people, because it'll blow over. Just like, it's exactly what they said in this episode or last episode, right? It's like, oh, no. This is a whole nother show. I'm talking about the challenge. But, like, essentially what they said no, I'm talking about the challenge.
The challenge.
Yeah. But essentially what they said, it's like, yo, it'll blow over. Just like, don't make a big deal in the moment. Don't try to go fix things with people and stuff. Sometimes, like, things will just blow over and stuff. And I think this is one of those situations. But, no, I don't know.
She doesn't even get a chance to let it blow over because Matt pretty much is like, yeah, it sounds like you've been making this a bad situation for people, so I don't feel comfortable with you being here and continuing this journey. So for that reason, you're out. And so she gets sent home before the rose ceremony even happens. And then Queen Victoria knows that she's next in line. She knows it.
The kiss-assery that they called it. The kiss-assery was ridiculous. It was just as cringy to see as like her being a bitch like on the show. Like, it was just like, oh God, you're such slime. And also for her to deny that she was toxic for the house, just seeing her in general, it's just like, you're a terrible
delusions.
person.
She is delusional. Like she fully, like the stuff that she's saying is just like fully like she lives in a different reality. Mm-hmm. Like she just does not. Like, she's like, I was never being malicious when I called Ryan a hoe. Like, you got that out of context. And, like, Matt's like, what context is that okay in?
Yeah, but is it weird that all I was thinking about was, like, Matt, you probably called a girl a hoe before in your life. And you sit here, like, all, like, that's all that I was thinking about when I was like, come on, Matt. Like, I know you have. Like, it's crazy.
Well, and I said on my Tipsy Talks, I'm like, because the whole thing was like Victoria was like told Ryan, because Ryan's like, an NBA dancer. And it was like, yeah, like, because you're a dancer, you have to be a hoe, like to her, which, okay. And I was like, as someone who dances and like does whatever, I'm like, I don't know if I'd be really that upset if someone called me a hoe. Maybe I would be if I was on a dating show.
I mean, I don't think she really cared in the sense that like this is what you have to do to get this person sent home. She knew what was going. She was just putting gasoline on the fire to make sure that this bitch was going home. Like at the end of the day, do you think that strong woman is really caring that this stupid bitch is calling? But it's under the vacuum of the show. You kind of have to like play it up, I'm not sure. I'm sure she took offense to it and stuff. But it's like in reality, if she ever said that to her in the real world, it'd probably be a whole different situation.
Well, and like also like Victoria just like needed to go. Like I think people like her for the entertainment value, but for me personally, like I think she had run her course of being entertaining. Week 5, where I think she's done.
She was so toxic or venomous that it's like it's only tolerable for so long. It was
seeping into the other girls.
It was seeping into the show. It's like, how could the show keep this person on here? This is not like healthy. This is being perpetuated by the producers at this point, which it is. Like even not sending her home right away was a move to make it more dramatic at the rose ceremony,
Yeah.
So, she ends up getting sent home, and a couple other girls too that like I was kind of surprised by.
The Puerto Rican girl, Mari, which was surprising to me because she's won every group date pretty much for her teams, like when they've done competition group dates. And then who else? There was one more.
There was a bunch of them actually. I think it was like 4 or 5 girls.
Miss Puerto Rico, Mari, Laura, and Lauren. I forget who Lauren is, to be honest.
Definitely will. But
and then.
So we move Victoria. On to the next part, which ends up being a one-on-one, right?
With Rachel, which
we're gonna have to get into Rachel this week, right?
We don't have like. What do you mean by that? Like we shouldn't unpack who Rachel is as a person yet, or we should wait?
I think we should talk about that after we talk about the recap. But we'll get back to Rachel, right? Like what's been happening with her, right?
there's like a lot. There's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so we'll talk about that after the recap of the show. But Rachel, someone that I thought, I think is going to go far, and
I think for sure she's going to go far, which is surprising.
Yeah, but she gets this one-on-one, and oh my goodness,
she gets the shopping spree one-on-one.
Yep. And I think it's a tactical move. Now that you know that this is like a date that might happen in a show, this is like pretty much like another scenario where Matt is letting people know that this is kind of like a first impression rose type of thing. Like, you get to come back with all the bags. It's like the best date. If you're a girl. It's the
best date. Like,
even as a guy, I would love it if a girl took me to go for a shopping spree and I came back like fly as hell and all the dopest stuff.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I think about like on Ari's season, he took Becca on the shopping spree date and like, he ended up with her until he, ditched her. But and I'm thinking, who else did the shopping spree date recently? I feel like I forget who Colton brought on his, but whatever. But I feel like, it's usually pretty telling of who's gonna make it pretty far. And of course, like it makes all the other girls pretty jealous because they walk back with all the bags.
Right.
And she even got like a separate dress.
I just think it's a dumb thing, like, because she's like, oh my God, like, and he's all like, I'm gonna spoil you. Like, it's like, you're not doing anything. This is not your money.
He's not doing a
You would not
thing.
do this in
plus,
real
those
life.
Louboutins are probably rented. She probably has to give them back. There's just no way that she gets it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So, anyway, she comes back to the house, which is an interesting thing, right? Like, that's another producer move to bring her all back for that one scene where she's got all the bags.
I feel like they do that with that date. It's like they bring them back,
make all the girls jealous, and they are going like they're spinning in their heads. Like, even like the ones that should be most confident are like spinning, and then they end up doing like the date later on, and it's just like one of the dates where like a chauffeur comes and they're like, hello, miss,
They have a horse-drawn carriage afterwards. It's just like a whole thing.
Yeah. So she's
very Cinderella.
She's definitely getting preferential treatment. So yeah. Anyways, that happens, and then what happens next? A group date.
We get the barn farm group date because Matt's leaning into how he's a country boy, which. Okay.
Yeah, he and this is another cringy like couple minutes because like first of all this MJ girl, is that her name?
Yeah.
Which is essentially the third of the bullies. Like, she was talking a lot of shit last episode, but kind of laying low. But some of the girls noticed and are not gonna let it be forgotten that there's still some dark matter here in the house. And essentially it's apparently she's like trying to do this play where she's all scared of like chickens and like just not having a good time, so she gets attention from Matt and playing it up. And it's just obvious apparently to the point where it's obvious to the girls. I think if it wasn't obvious to the girls, they would just have chopped it up and it would have been like a character thing of her or whatever. But the girls even noticed, and then they started showing her, and it just did seem really fake. Like, she was just doing it for attention, just to be noticed. And she was talking about wanting to be noticed and stuff. So obviously.
Yeah, at least be subtle. If you're going to like try to play these games, at least don't be like spitting your game before you do it. Like, come on.
I mean, it was just weird. And then he ran off to kiss one of these girls to make sure.
I think it was Ryan that he was making out with. Yeah.
And she was like, feeling like left behind and stuff. So he did that to make her feel better, I guess. But that's where MJ saw it, and it was just a mess. So I didn't think it was the best group date, but.
No, it's just like it's just like a tired thing to be like, let's get these girls out of their element by making them like, get muddy and dirty. Ooh,
Throw
like whatever. Like,
them.
I'm kind of sick of that shit. Yeah. But so during that date is kind of when the beef between Jasenia and MJ starts, because that's when Jasenia,
which I didn't think Jasenia had that kind of bark in her. Like,
me neither.
Not even bark, but like bite too. Like, she kind of backs it up. Like, she doesn't. Some of these girls are really impressive with their confrontational skills. Like, it's just kind of crazy. Yeah. They're really cool at like calm, collected, and like their thoughts are very, very clear when they say them. I'm like, damn, like, where do you learn this? You know what I'm saying? So break that down a little bit.
But yeah, no, so Jasenia was the one who kind of called MJ out as one of the like remaining antagonists of the whole like varsity JV situation. And so MJ started going after her, being like, I heard when you guys called me an antagonist, like, who's out here talking shit? Get my name out of your mouth. And Jasenia is like, well, these are the facts. Like, here are the facts. And it kind of like disrupts what like that group date, and it becomes an issue to how then the episode ends with they're going into the rose ceremony, or like the cocktail party for that, and they get sent a surprise date card. So Jasenia and MJ get to do a surprise 2-on-1 before the rest of the girls meet up for the rose ceremony cocktail party. And they did a really great job with making it super dramatic, like packing their bags, rolling it into the same car together to get it on opposite doors. Like, I was like, okay, we get it. And then they're, kind of facing off, like, and that's how the episode ends, is with them kind of going at each other. But like Jasenia, like, I have to give Jasenia like props, because she is similar to Katie in the situation with how she easily like handled MJ and picked out, like, poked holes in MJ's like story, and is like, I'm just going to keep, like, killing you with kindness. I'm going to just keep serving up the facts right into your face. And, and she broke the fourth wall. She's like, well, we're going to see what the truth is when this all airs. And so is Matt. And, like, she literally looked straight at the camera and, like, gave it straight into the eyes. And I, like, saw that as a viewer, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, like, that's like some,
we do know. We see it.
That's some Zach Morris Saved by the Bell stuff. Like, she's
literally
broke the fourth wall talking to the camera. Damn. That's, some Office. Like, she and honestly, like, MJ should just kind of she gets hot-headed. She's ready for a fight, but that's just going to bring more negative attention to you. Like, she might have been able to lay low if she just didn't get so defensive about it.
She might have been.
But, like, these girls are in the vacuum, so it's like they're very, like, high-strung, and any type of, like, negative attention to them, it drives them crazy, and they're trying to, like, put out fires that are, like they're not even that big of fires. It's like, dude, just kind of, like, it's just, like, embers, and they'll go down, But if you want to antagonize someone and then think you're stronger, like, it's like Jasenia, I would have maybe thought like she was just like a small tiny girl that you like. No, she's like coming up to bat on you. Somebody like MJ too. Like, it's just like I wouldn't expect. And MJ is like crumbling under. I love to see like people crumble, like Victoria and all that stuff. So interesting. I know MJ probably go home next episode. That's probably the case, right?
That's what I predict. I mean, and it's kind of upsetting. It feels like a very, like, Tyra, like, we were all rooting for you kind of moment. Because, like, at the beginning of the season, I kind of thought MJ was cool.
I love her hair. I didn't think
she was. Yeah, yes, I like her hair. She seems like a super, like, chill, down-to-earth kind of person. And then, she just kind of got wrapped up in the bullshit. So you hate to see it. But
she's immature. That's what
skin
it is.
hurts.
Another funny part from the episode was when Victoria was leaving, like, a bunch of funny things about Victoria leaving was hilarious.
Dude,
like,
the stuff she says is just too much. It's hilarious.
Like, just like how delusional she was outside where the girls could still hear her. What she said to Matt, and Matt just stared at her. I was just like, oh my God. Like, you see like a guy that just like, it's just like, you never had a chance. You don't have a chance. Like, look, and he's just like, dude, just please go. You're making this awkward as hell. And then also when she was doing her like exit interview, she was saying stuff like, the girls are gonna go crazy. Like, I brought all the fun and everybody loves me.
They're all gonna miss me.
Yeah, and they go like to these cutbacks of them cheersing to like, hopefully we're on to better days. Like, it's just the funny like cutaways. So yeah, that was this episode of The Bachelor. I
totally skipped over Kit's date. Kit had a one-on-one date.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about Kits. I mean, I guess I don't really see the connection between them. It just seems like Matt has a connection with any girl.
Young.
What's that?
So young. She's only 21.
Yeah.
Like,
But
Matt's 29.
But I do see like them being able. I saw the compatibility only because like he's probably gotten used to this certain kind of lifestyle since being friends with Tyler, and then she's obviously from a certain type of lifestyle with being her mom being so successful. So
yeah, I mean, Cynthia Raleigh, one of my favorite designers growing up.
Right,
but,
so they can hang like so. There's like a power dynamic in that sense where he feels like he has to step it up, and like he's not like above her. Like he's like, oh shit, like she actually knows like the finer things. Like I kind of have to dust this shit. Like
yeah. I just her whole line of like she was trying to get us to pity her by saying how like, oh, me and my gold Bentleys and like NYC like glamour and glitz, like I want the simple life. Like it's felt very condescending to anybody that isn't as privileged as her, and it just was like, Kit.
Yeah, but
sweetie.
I mean, there was nothing too crazy about that. She did get the rose, but I mean, I think he was more of just like, all right, is she worth keeping around for a little while? And she made it work. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what happens next episode. Oh, I guess homegirl from Hannah's or from Colton's season is coming, right?
Yep, Heather is coming. She's gonna blow up the season. So
Any predictions?
Man.
Do you think she stays, or do you think she goes like right away? Do you think Matt lets her come? Because I just feel like it would just be like, dude, like, yo, you're my friend. We have a friendship outside of this. Like, I just don't think these girls have just gone through so much stuff. Like, I just don't even think you should go through this. Like, I'm not even worth like what you would have to go through. You know what I'm saying? And you're not gonna get me. So there's some like crazy looking things happening over here. But so yeah, we got that happening. Any other news for Bachelor?
Yeah, so Dylan Barber he was on Bachelor in Paradise, known for being now with Hannah G. He took to Twitter this past week to kind of like spill the tea. Like he pretty much was like, I'm going to air some dirty laundry, ask me some questions. And pretty much was like saying stuff around the fact of how the producers pretty much determine who stays and who goes, and who like gets told to like, or gets encouraged to go visit the star off camera hours, or like, during those like off normal times that we see people like going to hotel rooms, etc. And he went on to say that, he thought that Jed got screwed over the most by production on his season because he was on Hannah Brown's season, which I feel like, I don't know how much I believe. Like people were like, so do you think he didn't cheat? And he was like, yeah, I don't think he did. And I personally still feel like it's a bit of a gray area of like, when was Jed seeing whoever he was seeing? When did he get on the show? How was he? Like all that stuff. I don't think Jed was the match for Hannah Brown in general, so whatever. But he pretty much like wrapped up his whole like thread of all of this stuff to be like, the producers don't care about you. You're all part of a bigger scheme. And like it has had a lot of like bad effects on a lot of contestants' mental health. And like it's kind of like, whatever, bye, and like you're stuck in whatever contracts like until you're not. And then
I'm pretty amazed how Dylan has been able to become like part of this type of Bachelor Nation like that. I mean, just the fact that
he's so fucking plain. Like there's nothing.
God. Oh my goodness, he does kind of look like a New Kids on the Block or something like that. But I mean, not in like I don't know. I don't think he's like great looking or anything or special.
No, he's nothing. He's like nothing memorable.
So, but regardless, like it's just interesting because he has Hannah, who's obviously she was one of the most beautiful girls off her seasons that she was on.
She was a top contender.
He obviously doesn't care about being part of Bachelor Nation, though. This is not the type of stuff that gets you invited to the
I'm interested because like they kind of like have a lot of their own like influencer-y stuff, and I don't know like where his different contracts and stuff end, and it feels like what he was saying wasn't anything like super new information that like I didn't really know from like what other people have said. And it also, people were wondering because of like him saying nice things about Jed, if it was like kind of like to help promote Jed's podcast, because I guess Jed is coming out with a podcast like soon.
I mean, whatever. I think in general he was just saying that Jed is not a horrible person. It's just, you know, in that moment he probably had some girl that he was tied up with, and he got an opportunity and was like, look, I gotta go do this, and it just got messy or whatever. But that's what it is. Anyways, anything else?
Do we want to talk briefly about Rachel?
Well,
Rachel stuff?
I don't know too. This is what I know about the Rachel thing. I think she makes it to, like, you know, like pretty much like to the top girls at the end of this season. I feel like they're just I can tell that just by the very few interactions that Matt and her have had on the show, and how deep, like, they're already saying I love you to each other, falling in love with each other, hung out twice. Yeah. But anyways, apparently, like, someone's done like some research on her, and like there's like a bunch of posts that like she's like or like interacted with that are like racist or
for sure.
Yeah, and also it's just like kind of crazy because it's like, you know, she's on a season right now for the first Black Bachelor, so it's just very it's just really weird. I don't know. So what have you heard about all that stuff?
So there's so it all kind of started a spiral when a TikTok user who went to high school with her first posted a TikTok, like when the season first started, being all like, LOL, Rachel, I remember when you used to bully me for liking black guys in high school, and now you're on the first season of a Black Bachelor. And then she kind of like came back. So then people were like, what? And like, so she kind of came back with a lot of different receipts of stuff that, you know, other girls who went to high school with her had said about her, like, and then it kind of spiraled into this whole thing of like finding posts with her with Confederate flags, finding posts with her doing other kind of racist things, finding posts of her saying like old tweets saying the N-word or whatever, finding how her parents are big Trump supporters and have supported different like QAnon things or different stuff of that. So it's just kind of like blown up into this whole big thing. And so she's from Cumming, Georgia, which, I mean, we're here in Atlanta, and Cumming is outside of the city. And it's definitely, once you get outside of like Atlanta, it becomes the South. And so definitely some kind of like ties to that there. So I'm just interested to see how that rolls out, because I mean, it kind of reminds me right now of how the same stuff like with Becca's season with Garrett, her, you know, fiance, now ex-fiance, and how there was a lot of racist stuff and a lot of like that kind of sports stuff that came out right towards the end of the season that he was on, and then it just ended up not working out for them long term. So I don't know if Rachel will win it, or like if that becomes an issue later on, or what that will look like if that is, you know, if that is the case.
Right. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens with her, and on the show and post show, I'm sure more will develop. These things don't just kind of like, this is not one of those things that just disappear. It just kind of like stays low until like she's like the winner of the show, and then the questions start, you know?
Yeah, it's just, I feel like it's so different, like watching the show, even like from when we first started this podcast. I feel like the influence of social media and what people can dig up on you really impacts like how you view, like I kind of was rooting for Rachel at the beginning of the season, and then when I started to see all this stuff, I'm like, should I be rooting for her anymore? Just like because of my own beliefs and things. And it definitely, I feel like it has such a different impact. Like I think about how like people have been watching this show for like a decade, and it's so much different, or from even then to now, and how social media really impacts like how even producers, I'm sure, are framing things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I wonder if like The Bachelor, just if he ends up picking her at the end, I wonder if like the franchise will just like try to sweep it under the rug, because it's not a good look for Matt. It's not a good look
to have the first
Matt doesn't
Black
actually
Bachelor.
have a lot of good looks outside of like the TV show itself.
No, it doesn't. No, they don't. The franchise is waning on good looks. Like they're trying. They're like Black Bachelor, but like he's got his own shit, and it's like, but look.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't care about any of that stuff, because like he's got his own. Not saying he's racist or anything, but he's like all about, you know, I think he's Republican and stuff like that. So it's like those ideals. those ideals, like, I don't think he has anything wrong with. But it's more of like, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see what happens with all that. Well, Bachelor, man, wow.
Wow, what a week.
What a week. What a week. Well, V, let's get into our slapper of the week. You know, it wasn't a week for music, but this was a song that has stood out to me in the last like week. It's just kind of a good beat, good flow. This rapper, Quantrelle, I think that's how you say it. And the song's called Momentum. Not much to say besides the fact that like I do feel like I have some momentum building in my life right now, and it feels amazing. So this word right here is actually, I think, my word of 2021. And
Ooh, manifest
so,
that shit.
Exactly. So let this just be a little anthem to get you through the day, through the weekend, through the week, wherever you're listening. But slapper of the week, Momentum by Quantrelle. Let's go.
Slapper of the week.
Slapper of the week, Momentum by Quantrelle. I know my energy will never die. Ooh, that was fire. So Momentum.
I've never heard that song, so
dope,
that's a slapper for me.
Hells yeah, we got the approval from V. Okay.
I was like trying to see who Quantrelle reminded me of. Like his voice is sort of like, I don't know, and his rhyming scheme kind of reminded me of Logic a little bit.
Yeah.
But his voice reminded me of somebody else, so
Sure.
I couldn't really get it.
I hear it. Well, V, do you have any shout outs this week?
Of course I do.
I
love
did.
to shout people out.
Yeah, you do.
I wanted to shout out my friend Casey for getting me some really cool, fun candles for my birthday. I actually have one going over here, and it's my CEO of Simping for Chris Evans one. Great candles. Very basic.
Dope.
Very on theme. And then I wanted to shout out my friend Abby. She's just been like fucking cranking, putting out great content for BuzzFeed lately, and I've been really proud of her.
Hell yeah.
And then my friend Ashley she is doing the work at her job right now, bringing in a lot of like awesome Black folks to talk for Black History Month in the news, and I'm just always inspired by her. And then I wanted to shout out our pal David for his birthday.
Awesome. Well, continue the birthday shout-outs to my friends Melanie and Rosie. That's who we celebrated this past weekend.
Fine.
So their birthdays was really fun. I'm glad I got to see them this past weekend. I want to give a birthday shout-out to my friend John Paul, my fellow acting friend. And
Yes.
And then I want to give a shout-out to my friend JT because he sent me – remember how my mom sent me the Doc Brown little action figure? He sent me – well, no, she sent me the Marty McFly. He sent me the Doc Brown within the same week. So now I have like matching toys. So I just love him, man. He gives me the best Back to the Future gifts.
He gives you great gifts.
Yeah,
he's just like,
he's one of my best friends. He's, I don't know. He just knows me. He's known me a long time. He knows like the things that I'm just gonna be like, this is dope. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of hard to do that for me, but he does it.
Yeah.
So shout out to them.
Hey.
Well, V, I kind of wanted to start doing like a segment at the end. I meant to talk to you about this.
Oh,
yeah.
Fucking surprised me. The segment. Okay.
Well, I this is something we can prep for next week, I guess. But
Sure.
maybe we could do it right now. But I kind of, at the end of the show, kind of want to have like a breaking news type of thing of like anything that just might be on the internet that we can scrape at the last second while we're on the show, so we don't miss on something that's popping like right in the morning. So as I'm looking through stuff, I'm not seeing too much popping off right now, but next week we can have some things kind of in the works. I'm seeing things like Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter are going to do a boxing match. That's pretty incredible. Why? Because they're paying them a lot of money.
These fucking boxing matches. My thing is like, it's just toxic masculinity on display. If this money isn't going to good causes, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I feel you. Another thing I was seeing, did you see little Uzi Vert implanted a diamond in his forehead?
That's right. He implanted a diamond on his forehead, bruh.
He looks like Vision.
Fame and fortune does a number on people's brains, and
it kind of looked a little crooked too, which I don't know.
Oh, stop it!
But yeah, straight up. Remember the scene from like Endgame Avengers where like Thanos rips
Yeah,
that
where they had it,
diamond
like,
out
on
of Vision's
Vision.
forehead. Yeah.
Well,
So
I was
watch
about
him-
to say, I'm like, Thanos about to snatch that up.
Or, you know, God forbid you fall asleep next to some girl you don't know or something, and you wake up the next morning with a hole in your head. But yeah, so and then also another crazy thing and kind of like podcasts and digital news. One of my favorite podcasts is the Joe Budden Podcast, and you know, we've kind of talked about his business moves along the way, but he just announced that he's moving his podcast over to Patreon, and they're gonna have they're gonna have different level tiers, like I think like a $5, $10, and $25 tier. They're upping 2 more shows a month that you'll get, you know, on that, and then I mean, it'll still be available everywhere, I think, but you just get a better experience through Patreon. And also, like, they gave him a position at the company of Patreon, which ends up being they gave him the role of Patreon's head of they gave him the role of head of creator equity in order to fight for content creators and push for a change in the industry. So, you know, I don't know. I really want
that could be good for us.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. I mean, I have some plans for us in the next year to kind of take it to the next level and stuff. So these are different things. Like, we always got to constantly switch it up, never get comfortable, realize when, you know, we got to step it up. And actually at the top of the year is a great time for us to always realize that, even about this. So just you know, it's cool to follow to have love for a podcast like that, and then to also learn from the moves. You know, if it wasn't for the Joe Budden Podcast, you know, I wouldn't be doing this podcast as well as I have been, as far as like technically. Like, there's a lot of things that I learned through listening to that show, being able to have conversations with you. You know, they don't all agree sometimes, they come from different worlds and stuff, but they all can like kind of like have a conversation around stuff. I think we've learned to do that with each other. We know how to be funny, we know how to keep it rolling, sound effects, everything sounds
just
good quality.
Funny,
so yeah, so I'm glad we got a little bit of news out of the way at the end. But I think it's kind of cool because tomorrow, you guys listen to us, we're kind of like a day behind because we record the day before. So I think it's a cool thing to kind of stay relevant for at least another day or two. If we can have like some type of Google alerts give us some news at the end of the show. So keep a lookout for that, guys. Super Bowl weekend, any anticipations? Like, I'll probably be seeing you for Super Bowl, right?
You will be seeing me for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think, right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I rooted for the Chiefs last year. I'm going to pretty much wear the same exact outfit to hope for good juju. I believe when it comes to sports, the clothing really is good juju thing for me. Like, I am a big believer in good and bad juju when it comes to sports. Like, I used to have a thing in college where my friends and I, one of my friends was a Blackhawks fan with me, and my other friend was a Blues fan. And whenever we watched Blackhawks versus Blues hockey, we would have to us Blackhawks fans would drink a St. Louis beer, and our friend who was a Blues fan would drink a Chicago beer, because we would think that we would be, there was a lot of juju there. So anyways, so I'm hoping for that. I'm excited. It's the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers, and this is actually the first time, I think, ever that the host city has their team in the game, because it's in Tampa, and so the Tampa Buccaneers will be playing the Chiefs.
That's huge for them. So they got like the momentum of the city. That's going to be a crazy
Yeah, and obviously limited capacity.
Yeah.
The Weeknd's performing the halftime show. I guess he spent like $7 million of his own money or something like that on the show to make it especially great.
It sounds like a lot, but I don't think it's that much. Like, it's always like, you know, they're like, Kanye's like, I spent $50 million of my own money to make this tour. Like, it's like, all right, well, you're getting the benefits of it, so give me a break.
Yeah, wait a second.
It's like, who's gonna pay for
How much
it?
of that comes back? Yeah.
Who's gonna pay for this? I have you seen any Super Bowl commercials yet, or anything that stood out?
Yes, the Alexa commercial, where it's the
Those
new
were the
Alexa.
big ones last year, right?
Yeah, but this one that they've already previewed, I'm guessing they're probably going to have more extended versions or whatever. But the one that they've already previewed has my man's Michael B. Jordan, where it's like, oh, the new Alexa. They're like, look at how beautiful it is. Like, I couldn't think of any better vessel. And like, the employee looks out on the street and sees like Michael B. Jordan on a bus, and then pretty much like imagines like if Michael B. Jordan was her Alexa and like is talking to her and like goes through all these scenarios of like her like pretty much like flirting with her Alexa because it's Michael B. Jordan, and like her husband being all like, don't do that. No, lights on, Alexa. Like, it's so.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's putting more stock into Michael B. Jordan lane right there for him. Man,
if I could get a Michael B. Jordan Alexa, I'd be set.
So
I'd be
he's like our generation's Denzel, I guess now, right?
Oh, faux show.
Oh, faux show, she said. Well, that's what's up.
Do you know how many people sent me that? Like, I didn't see the fucking commercial. They already like sent. I got like so many DMs being like, "V, did you see this?" I'm like, anything Michael B. Jordan touches, I see. Okay.
That's hilarious because it's just like everything Bachelor is sent to me. Like, you know,
literally. Same. Honestly, same. People are like sending me TikToks. Like, that's how I saw a lot of the stuff about Rachel's, because like people were sending me the TikToks that I had already liked and saved for myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I know.
Well, that's what's up. Well, yeah. So everyone have a good, safe Super Bowl. And we'll be watching along with you guys. And hopefully next week we can get into episode 151. Bacardi 151. What? Oh my God. You remember drinking that? Have you ever drank that?
No.
Bacardi 151. Whew.
Yes. I'm sure I have.
Yeah.
I mean, probably.
Anyways,
some shit.
Well, guys, you know we love you. You know, make sure to follow us on Instagram. Make sure to like, subscribe, tell a friend, do all that stuff.
Yeah, give us those stars. We want all 5 of them.
Yeah. Future Bachelor, my name is Cy.
I'm Veronica.
And you know what it is. Deuces!
Bye!